All right, guys, I am so super stoked to have the dynamic duo here interviewing with me. I have Raymond Langdon and Fred Smith, and I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to ask Fred, what does he do and how does he help his customers and his clients?
Definitely appreciate it. Always happy to be here. I show customers how to build customer messaging that will drive conversions to their audience. And that's super important these days because, as you know, the whole market has shifted. So
Yeah.
people who were once in revenue are kind of on a struggle bus a little bit. So we're here to straighten them out and tighten them up.
That is so true. 2020 and 2024 looks totally different, right? Raymond, how about you? Who do you help and how do you help them?
Very simply, we just help people snap necks and cash checks, right? It's just taking care of business. So we can get right down to it. But my real expertise, very, very simply, is organic outreach, primarily Facebook approaches, as you know, Sharon, from many years of interacting. Really building out sales teams, sales processes, and all things there, and offer creation. I've crafted over 300 high ticket offers for clients and our own businesses in the market. So, my skills combined with Fred kind of is an all-encompassing solution for people looking to get back on track, like he said.
That's like a 1-2 punch with the two of you, man.
Shake and bake.
Love it, love it, love it. Could you tell me, Raymond, how'd you get started? What's your origin story?
How'd I get started? Yeah. I guess we all have our own unique one, right? But long story short, I worked in corporate America for about 20 years in a kind of obscure industry, industrial laundry. And I was route sales. So that's kind of on the road, but also making sales, kind of a hybrid service sales role, which actually, once I transition those skills online, like service is part of everything I do, right? Like every product we put to market comes from a place of service. So this industry isn't just about sales. And I think sometimes that goes overlooked. But I think that mesh of that skill set in the corporate world, when I kind of stumbled across digital marketing and figured out this world, that's what a lot of people I think have trouble doing, right? Is like, how do I take that skills from my corporate America or whatever I did and transition it to here? Once you figure out how to apply that, things become a much more simple and they just click a bit better, right? But so I started to have degenerate back problems and I had repetitive bending and lifting. And I basically saw a doctor when I was in my mid 30s that basically told me if I kept doing that line of work, I'd be walking like a hunchback by the time I was 50 something, right? And that's when you really think about life. Like you can't put a price on your spine. I can't go buy a new one once it's
Yeah.
shot, right? So I had to pivot. I had always used my body and my brain, but I had to pivot. And I stumbled across digital marketing, really fell in love with it, and just started digesting it. All the books around me, courses, did everything everybody did, and was lucky to partner up with a couple of great people, and started off where I met Fred, working for a digital consultancy on their sales team, and took what I learned in that skill set in my previous career, and just thought I could go to the market and help people do this in a more ethical, more effective way.
Yeah, I just think that it's so cool that you are able to do that because I think that people get stuck in the, oh, I'm a marketer now and I can't, they don't know how to pull the two together. And they need people like you, Raymond, to kind of like make it smoother for them so they can understand it better. Because coming from a 9 to 5, as I did all my life,
Yep.
and then coming into the market world, sometimes people get really thrown off on how you make that pivotal move. So, so grateful that you're here. How about you, Fred? What's your origin story?
Man, well, I'm from the hood. Don't let the non-accent fool you. I had to get it trained out of me. So I'm from the Philly area. And the interesting thing about it is I've been more of a philosopher and a researcher. And it just happened to translate into what we call advertising and marketing.
Mm,
So I struggled with that when I was younger because I was always the kid in the library. I was always the one doing data research before people even called it data research. Like I'm the word nerd. I'm that guy. I'm pretty smart. Was accepted to UPenn, U of Penn, and a few other places. Went to school for a little bit. It wasn't for me, so I started doing door-to-door sales. I was pretty hardcore about that. Got to the point where I was running a team with 60 people on the squad for the two people who actually managed the teams. And then I got real dangerous. I figured out like I didn't have any fear of anything whatsoever. So I started just losing my integrity a little bit. And I'll really say that. So I was like, you know what? With power comes responsibility. I know I needed structure. So I joined the Marine Corps. And believe it or not, the Marine Corps was easier than it was doing door-to-door sales. I got into a lot of trouble in the Marine Corps, a lot. I almost got kicked out of the Marine Corps, real talk. Don't let the pretty boy look for you. And needless to say, I went through that, went Marine combat training, finished up number one, and then I went to my military school which is where I learned all this insane knowledge base. It was a National Cryptologic Institute, which is a NSA school, National Security Agency school. So I learned all of this stuff there, the advanced stuff there, but also learned broadcasting, journalism. And then when I got out the Marine Corps, because I almost got killed a few times, I went out to the civilian world, and it was just like sales and marketing. That's weird. So, needless to say, I got out, scaled up several businesses to a few hundred million. They all went to multi-billion-dollar companies, and they're still in existence to this day. And I met Ray through like he said, a mutual company consultancy, and we've just been rocking ever since. And we've worked with a lot of celebrity entrepreneurs, experts, entertainers, behind the scene kind of stuff. And that's my origin story. Here I am,
Here
happy
you
to serve.
are. Here you are. The thing about it is sometimes we feel like the journey is not going to land us in the place that God wants us to be. And next thing you know, he didn't just land us there. We excel there. And that's a wonderful story, from like the struggles to the conquering of those struggles. I love it. I love it. Um, so tell me a little bit of the nuggets. Can you drop some nuggets? Either one of you can start. Maybe Fred, you can start. The nuggets that you bring to the marketplace, the implementations. Maybe tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. This is what I've always said, and this was my struggle actually getting into the quote unquote marketing industry. I didn't even know that there was an industry because I played at such a high level in automotive industry. Like a lot of the brand shifts that you're seeing to this day, I was one of the guys literally behind the scenes making those brand shifts that you're seeing. So from a very high level, what I've observed was just that it was a marketer marketing to other marketers, marketing to the marketers who market to marketers. And it's just like, well, there is a such thing from a very high level, but branding, if you're in the marketing world, that's more of a long-term goal, and you have to have individual layers of marketing. So in that context is true. But when you're talking about an original copy, like if we were looking like at a copier machine, if we look at the original copy, the copy was never that great to begin with. It was like it was the smallest, tallest person in the room, and then everybody copied that. So now we're starting to see that dissonance in the marketplace. So now guys like me who know it from a super high level go, yeah, we've been telling you that it was not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. You can only do that but so much before the market sophistication changes, i.e., the manipulative tactics don't work anymore. Now you have to be a real human being talking to real human beings. So I think the people who are struggling with that, especially the ones who've made multiple six figures, because me and Ray have seen that all the time. I think what they're struggling with right now is learning the human side of marketing, whether it's humanizing the data or actually humanizing your message, especially since 2020, a lot shifted where you no longer can hide behind an ominous brand. I mean, we see like these faceless Instagram and YouTube, blah, 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 that's cool or whatever. But for the most part, if you're a real expert, you need to be in front of your messaging and your brand. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who are stuck there. They have to do a lot of unlearning before they can do relearning to understand how the world really works from a high level. So that's my Fred talk for today.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, sometimes you don't even see your genius because you're hiding, right? And then when you get your messaging out there and you're really connected with human beings, you've come to find out you have more genius inside of you that you never even knew you had. So it's really, really good that you're able to like do that on a high level, because we really do need it in the industry, especially after the pandemic and things are not running as smoothly as they once were. That's great. Love
Yeah.
that,
And
Fred.
then I just want to add one more thing before I shut up. Like literally, that was one of my mentors, the late great Dave Gonzalez told me that. He was like, get out of whatever industry you're into and get into the people business. He's
Yeah.
always taught me that. And that to me, I think that's what's working the day. So
Oh, it's definitely working today. How about you, Raymond?
Yeah, I mean, to drop a few nuggets, I'd rather drop things hopefully people can apply and implement right off the bat. So let me just give you 4 or 5 points that have led to us having a real lot of success with a couple different companies. The first company I was co-owner of, and now I'm the sole owner of PDocs, which for anyone watching that's not aware, stands for pains, desires, obstacles, common beliefs, and steroids, aka attention grabbers in the marketplace. And what PDocs really is, if you think about it, and Sharon, you would know this, it's really a communication channel. And within that, there's everything from the research, the outreach, the messaging, the transitional messaging, the sales process, right? Everything is a part of, but it's all within communication. And that goes back to what Fred said about humanizing your messaging. So what I think is working right now, and what I want to emphasize on, no matter where you're putting this, if you're putting this organic content in posts, if you're making stories and reels, if you're making long form YouTube, doesn't really matter. Think of how do I stand out? How do I remain authentic and kind of within my core values so you can actually appeal to people that align with you? A lot of people kind of do fake messaging, right? Off some coach or some script or some template, but it doesn't even feel like them. Like you're never going to attract your vibe and your people if you're pretending with somebody else's messaging. So I'm not saying don't use frameworks and templates. They're great, but tweak them, make them custom. If it doesn't sound right, don't do it, right? One thing I'll say that really helped me a lot is in all the information I've consumed, you know, let's, for instance, take a course that I paid 15K for back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I implemented out of that course? About 20%, because 80% didn't sit well, didn't resonate. So I don't care if people are telling me what to do. It's still my brand and my business, and I can't just shadow people. So what I do with any information is what's applicable or relevant or jives with me, and what's cringeworthy. I'm not going to do it if I don't like it. So I don't care what you're telling me, right? So it's still your business, and don't just follow the herd like a sheep when it comes to marketing, because that's what's created that big gap that Sharon was talking about from 2020 until now. Is like there's so many sheep out there just repeating regurgitated marketing or coaches to coaches, right? And the other thing I'm going to drop really quickly is, guys, once you grasp this, understanding the sophistication level of your audience. Am I speaking with an entry level newcomer in whatever field? Am I speaking with somebody in revenue with 20 clients doing very well? Because the way you speak to those people and the angles and hooks you use in your messaging, it's going to change so much. So when I really understood sophistication level, how to just apply what's relevant and really make my messaging and my efforts. And again, where I was going with this is, I don't care if you're doing email copy, you're doing ads, you're doing Facebook organic, you're in Messenger, it all still applies when how to stand out, how to be authentic, and how to really drop some value or some nuggets so you can then inject what we always call an unexpected solution and disarm the prospect. So those are just some quick lessons that if you guys can relate and pick up and implement into what you're doing, I think you're going to see a lot higher level of effectiveness and really production with what you're doing with your activity, your copy. And that's what this comes down to.
Yeah, awareness level is really, really important. You being you is super, super important. I always like to say where your passion meets proficiency. Like you really need to do what Raymond just finished putting down. Like you really need to be authentic about your marketing, care about people. Like Fred says, you can't really just rubber stamp people. People are people. You can't rubber stamp people. People need certain solutions, and if you're not able to articulate them well enough and be your authentic self at the same time, you'll never move the needle in your business. Guys, this is some really great stuff. I have one last question. I know you have an upcoming messaging event which everyone should just jump on. I'm telling you now, right now, jump on this, right? Don't hesitate, right? But Raymond's going to tell the details of when that's going to happen, how you can get the link, all that stuff. Well, you could get the link right here, but he's going to tell you the details.
Yeah, I'll go through here in just 1 second. Just to add one more thing to what you were just talking about. So true. The one tip I can give everybody, and that I give, like, I have one of my programs called DM Setter Academy, where I train people to message, and people get so lost in like how to word things. I'm like, just say it to like how you would say it to your buddy sitting across the room on the couch. When you can do that with your messaging, you're going to get a lot better. And that's one just quick tip I can give to implement. Can I screen share super quick to just show people as I go over this, just so I can.
It's your room.
All right, guys. Sorry for the delay. But yeah, a quick little overview. And Fred, I'll kind of kick it over to you to chime in a little. But we are running a Master Your Messaging 5-day messaging masterclass, which is kind of a mouthful. I think I got it right that time. And we're doing this in a 5-day challenge format. So this is this is the first challenge where PDocs, and for those of you guys who've been through any of my stuff or have seen, we're kind of known for the couple challenges we've ran. Those actually really ramped up our business and delivered crazy results and testimonials. This is the first challenge where Fred and I really partnered for setting up the curriculum with PDocs, powered by his brand From Vision to Victory, which is really cool because, you know, the way, as you can probably see on this call, the way we kind of vibe off each other and our skill sets combined, I think brings another level to the curriculum. But really quickly, July 29th through August 2nd, we are running this challenge. Each day at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be going live for an hour with all the participants to teach the skills, frameworks, the psychology that go into effective, authentic messaging that actually converts. A lot of what we were talking about here today, right? Really quickly, these are the three main areas where people struggle with right now. They either can't or haven't crafted messaging that works, created or crafted, right? They have broken or ineffective messaging, or they just need to dial it in. Like their messaging is good, but it's just missing that little accelerant to really get people like knocking down your door to find out what you do, right? So we have 5 days of curriculum. And number one, if you don't really understand the again, what I mentioned, some of the frameworks and the psychology, what goes into effective messaging, it's really hard to do the next step. So that's obviously kind of our foundation. Where Fred really dials this in is adding the vision and purpose aspect and really looking at it at another level that I never approached it from. So I think that's kind of a game changer. And this was never in anything we've ever run, and how we combine this into the messaging. So that's some new aspects. By day 3, we're already getting into the implementation and execution where people have the skill set and are writing, new messaging that can convert. This is the other one that's really overlooked, Sharon, is a lot of people don't teach you how to open up that feedback loop, optimize, how to scale the winning messaging and take things that are good organic hooks and turn them into paid ads that will work, and really how to organize and how to batch your content, as well as, drop down the losers, as I say, and kind of shelve them and kind of research them. Why didn't they work? Maybe I need a different lead type, right? Maybe I was just in the wrong sophistication level group. So we kind of show you how to optimize and organize your messaging to come up with more effective content or copy that is going to convert before you ever launch it, right? And day 5 is the complete launch. By the end of day 5, everybody will have new messaging and campaigns launched, whether they came in to write ad copy, to write email copy, to tighten up their organic profile and their bio, their DM messaging. And then we kind of have a bonus one-on-one commencement call. And the reason we do this, and what people don't do in most challenges actually, is get one-on-one with that subject matter expert that just taught the challenge and have him look and validate and verify your messaging individually, and then tell you how he would plug that into his messaging to go monetize that the quickest. So I think a lot of challenges will do all this stuff, but they don't give you the one-on-one direction on how to go actually make this keep bringing in, results for you. So we wanted to really add in that personal touch and give people that quick little 15 minutes that we need to say, hey man, if I had this messaging as opposed to what you had last week, this is what I would go do right away, right? And boom, 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 and just give them a game plan. So that's a quick little overview. Fred, would you like to add anything onto that really quickly?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ray, and definitely that was a great summation. We believe, at least I believe personally, directly from working with over 3,000, 4,000 people, Ray. We've had 2,500 people just do PDocs, and they have actually generated $100 million worth of income. That's what the impact of this is. The accelerant part is what I see missing in the marketplace, which is people tripping over paper clips at 200 miles an hour. Everybody's moving so fast, right? They're not really understanding, and they can't delineate between where they are in relation to where the market is in relation to where their offer is. So this particular part of the process really dials that part in. So once we have that calibrated, then we're able to really throw that accelerant, like throwing gasoline on it, which is PDocs. I'm 100% on board with PDocs. I was the CEO. Ray blessed me with that. And it's one of those things where we want to be able to make sure that when people are hitting with us, they don't miss. Because me and Ray together have crafted multiple 7-figure offers for people from either scratch or if they're already in revenue. So we already know that this process works.
Oh my God. I feel full already. I feel like I had a whole meal. You guys are awesome. And I love that you guys are people orientated. I love that you guys love to give back. I mean, that whole get on the call 15 minutes and give you a game plan thing is so fantastic. Guys, if you want to really be movers and shakers in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, you have to get your messaging right. Because the market is just moving further and further away from cookie cutter. And you need this. So guys, thank you so, so much for spending this time with me. I am going to definitely make sure that people know about this. And you guys, thank you. And we'll talk soon, for real.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks for having
guys,
us
for
on, Sharon.
watching. And make sure you get into this mastery. Let me get ghetto on you.
There you
Get
go.
into this mastery.
Taking it back to the streets.
Peace out.
Let's get gutter with it.
Get ghetto with it.